Star Wars Young Jedi Knights. The Emperor's Plague, Chapter 5. The sharp scent of ozone and metal drifted up from the escape pod, along with a crackle of static electricity from the recently disengaged tractor beam. Raynor could hear the chugging of the pod's life support system mixed with the whine of the lightning rod sublight engines as Zeke maneuvered into the dock with the Rock Dragon. He had never heard or smelled anything so wonderful. The harsh glare of the cargo hold's glow panels was cheering, welcoming. Everything seemed brighter, sweeter, fresh to him than had been for nearly a year. The galaxy would soon be set to rights. His father had returned. With shaking finger, Raynor pressed the hatch release, and the heavy top panel popped open with a whoosh of depressurization. Giving a joyful cry of welcome, Raynor leaned to the pod, only to find a blaster aimed straight at his heart. Jaina was the first to stumble through the airlock from the Rock Dragon. Setting his external sensors to full alert to keep out an eye for unwanted visitors, Zeke threw aside the crash webbing and bounded out of the lightning rod cockpit into the crew cabin. He twirled Jane into a happy hug while they both laughed in relief. But he growled, "I thought I told you you couldn't come with me." Jaina knew he was trying hard to sound stern, but she could hear the pleasure in his voice. She pulled back favored him with a solo grin. Since you do everything I ever wanted you to do," she gave an unladylike snort. I'm just as worried about your safety as you are mine, you know." "All right," Zeke admitted. "I'm glad you came. I still don't know how you found us." Jaina shrugged and grinned again. "Trade secret." "Ha!" Jason said, appearing in the airlock with Tenelka behind him. "Some trade secret. More like a sneaky droid, if you ask me." Loy also emerged from the airlock in a flurry of ginger fur and full-throated wiki bellows. "Why, if you're referring to me, Master Jason, I'll take that as a compliment," EMT said, zipping past him into the crew cabin on his micro-repulsor jets. "This is a fact," Tenelka said. "You are an excellent sneaky droid." Zeke looked accusingly at Jaina. "What did EMTD do?" "When we were helping you with pre-flight," she stammered, "I kind of had EMTD download the frequency and encoding of your tracer used on Bornathol's ship." "It was a good thing, too," Jason picked up where Sister left. "After we saw the delegation off to Ryloth, we all had this feeling that something was about to go wrong." Lowy woofed and brushed at the back of his neck to indicate the tingle of danger they had sensed. "Mom must have felt it too," Jaina said, "because when I told her that you're going to need our help, she didn't even try to argue. She was glad she had some Jedi she could send into an important mission, even if two of them were her own kids." Tenelka nodded. "Her one stipulation was that we send her a message if we required reinforcements." She raised an eyebrow and looked around at her friends. "Do we require reinforcements?" "Not if Bornathol made it intact with his navicomputer or managed to destroy it," Zeke said. "We better get out of the hold and find out." "Hey, don't shoot, Dad, it's me," Raynor said. His father, looking haggard and weary, glanced around but did not lower his blaster. "Are you a hostage? Have you been helped into helping the bounty hunter or the Diversity Alliance?" "No, Dad. Zeke and I may have worked as a bounty hunter. He's a friend." Raynor was surprised to note, as he said that was true. Zeke was a friend, and the dark-haired young man had risked his life more than once for each of them. "He believes what you told him about the humans all being in danger. He wanted to help you, so he came to get me, and figured you wouldn't trust him alone." Bornathol's haunted eyes closed for a moment, then he added, Your friend is right. I wouldn't have trusted him." Raynor's father lowered the blaster and extended a hand for his son to help him out of the escape pod. Raynor had thought about this too long to be embarrassed anymore. Though his family had rarely engaged in physical contact when he was growing up. Even before his father's feet were firmly in the deck plates, Raynor threw his arms around Bornan in a fierce hug, and his father, perhaps because he was unsteady, or perhaps because he also had months to reflect, did not hesitate in returning the hug. Only the sound of his friend's footsteps descended into the cargo hold brought Raynor back to reality. His father flinched and reached for his blaster, instantly suspicious again. "These are my friends too," Raynor said, and introduced them one by one. "They're all Jedi Knight trainees, except for EMTD, who is the best miniaturized translating droid ever to be refitted on Mechas 3, and a good navigator to boot." "Speaking of navigators," Zeke said, "what about the module Nal Tarkona wanted so badly? Was it on board your ship when it blew up?" Bornathol pointed to the emergency pod. "No, I brought it with me. It's here." Raynor felt giddy with relief. "Then you don't have to run anymore. All we have to do is destroy the information." His father's mouth formed a grim line. All the blood seemed to drain from his once round cheeks. "Oh," he shook his head. "It's not that simple. Before I got into the escape pod, I noticed that the computers on my ship were being accessed all at once. I don't know how, but someone was slicing into them remotely." "That would probably be Boba Fett," Zeke said. "He did that to the Rock Dragon when we were at the rubble field of Alderaan," Jaina explained. Then he looked questioningly at Bornathol. But you have the Navicomputer with you. Brett couldn't have sliced into it. You don't understand. Born's voice rasped. This was too painful for him to speak. I knew that even if I destroyed the Navicomputer, Nola Turcona would never stop looking for the weapons depot. That's why I went there myself, hoping to destroy it. I couldn't find a way, though, so that I left again, planning to buy weapons and supplies and weapons so that I could return to blow up the storehouse. Raynor blanched. So that means the location of the storehouse is on your ship's own navigational log before it blew up. In that case, Zeke concluded, Boba Fett has the information and he won't hesitate to give it to Nola Turcona.